Welcome to the Madison Miller Podcast Special Edition Preview Shows. This is going to be the first of a ton of shows previewing and predicting the 2022 NCAA Men's College Basketball Conference Tournaments. In total, there will be 32 shows. And this is going to be the first of 32. In this show, I will preview and predict the Northeast Conference Tournament, which are going to be held at the sites of the hosting school. The tournament will begin tomorrow with the opening round, as Fairleigh Dickinson, your 8 seed, will host the 9-seeded Central Connecticut. The rest of the seeding in this tournament, Bryant's your 1 seed, Wagner's your 2, LIU's your 3, Mount St. Mary's is your 4, St. Francis Brooklyn's your 5, your 6 is Sacred Heart, your 7 is St. Fran, Pennsylvania, and then 8 and 9 we just discussed, Fairleigh Dickinson and Central Connecticut. So, Fairleigh Dickinson on the season, 4-21 and 5-13 in conference play, and Central Connecticut 7-23 in conference play, 7-23 overall and 5-13 in conference play. And by the way, Merrimack was in this conference, and they do not qualify for this tournament because of its transition period. So hopefully Merrimack's eligible within the next couple of seasons, or else they would have been the 4 seed in this tournament. They weren't bad this year in Northeast play. So, without further ado, here we go. Central Connecticut and Fairleigh Dickinson. Both of these teams are obviously the seller of each conference. Dickinson's leading scorer was Brandon Rush, and their second leading scorer was Devon Dunn. Rush with 14.1 points a game, Dunn with 10.1 points a game. And then for Central, they were led by Nigel Scantlebury, 13.1 points per game. And then their second leader scoring was a guard with 10 points a game, Ian Krishan. So, very kind of rounded teams in terms of scoring, but each team has like a clear top 2 on their scoring charts. Projection-wise, I project Fairleigh Dickinson at home to be a 4 7/8 favorite with a total of 140 and a quarter. I do not know if these lines are out yet, but I'll check as we are recording. But according to this projection, Fairleigh Dickinson is likely to move on and take on Bryant in the quarterfinals. And the odds are out for who's going to win each men's conference tournament. Horizon League's out, Big South's out, Patriots out, Sunbelt's out, Ohio Valley's out, Ace Sun's out, Missouri Valley's out, Summit's out. I don't see NEC out. So, at least on FanDuel, but I'll check Vegas Insider as we move along with the program. And then the quarterfinals are going to start on Wednesday, March 2nd. You have what I think will be 8-seeded Fairleigh Dickinson and 1-seeded Bryant. My line projection is Bryant 16.5. So Bryant should move on past Fairleigh Dickinson fairly easily, as Bryant is the much better team, led by Peter Kiss. I think this is probably one of the better names of the entire sport, honestly. And then the next one up in the quarterfinals is 5-seeded St. Francis Brooklyn against 4-seeded Mount St. Mary's. St. Francis Brooklyn on the year, you got 10-19 overall, 7-11 in conference play, and Mount St. Mary's 13-15 on the year, 9-9 in conference play. My projections here: Mount St. Mary's by 9 3/8, total 133-45. So with home field, Mount St. Mary's should move on, led by Jalen Benjamin and St. Fran Brooklyn. They have a very balanced team led by Michael Cubbage. So Mount St. Mary's should be able to get by St. Fran Brooklyn. And then we got 7-seeded St. Francis of Pennsylvania at 2-seeded Wagner. St. Fran PA on the year, 9-20 overall, 5-13 in conference play. Wagner 19-5 overall and 15-3 in conference play. St. Fran PA, not that strong of a team. Just like some of the other bottom feeders in this conference, very balanced team led by Josh Cohen. And on the other side, with Wagner, you have a balanced team with a very solid scorer in Alex Morales. I think Wagner gets through. I have them projected as an 18-3 favorite, total 140-85. So they should move on. And the last of the quarterfinal matches, you have 6-seeded Sacred Heart against 3-seeded LIU. Sacred Heart 10-19 on the year, 6-12 in conference play. LIU 15-13 on the year, 12-6 in conference play. Sacred Heart, I think it's a little bit better than some of the other bottom teams of this conference. They have two really good scorers in Tyler Thomas and Aaron Clark. And on the other side, with LIU, they have some really good scorers too. Ty Flowers and Earl Penn. And I think that this will be a more competitive game than people think, even though my projections may not agree. With that, I project here LIU by 8 5/8, total 147.5. So therefore, I have LIU moving on. And then the semifinals, 4-seeded Mount St. Mary's and 1-seeded Bryant. Bryant on the season, 19-9 overall, 16-2 in conference play. They're really good yet again. I barely talked about that before. So I think these two teams will get at it. But I think that Kiss is the best player on the court in this game, and I think you can make a case that Bryant has the best few players on the court in this game. So I have Bryant advancing here, as I have them projected as an 8.25 favorite over Mount St. Mary's. And then the other two of the semifinals, you have Wagner hosting LIU. My projection, Wagner by 9.75. And no, I don't have totals yet because it's unpredictable of the number of points that they would score in the previous matchup. And I just think that Morales, as well as Will Martinez, don't sleep on him either, will lead the way for Wagner over LIU in the semis. And then the championship, which will be played on March 8th. That's a Tuesday night between Wagner and Bryant, is what I project. 2-seeded Wagner, 1-seeded Bryant. From Bryant, which is, they play at the Chase Athletic Center in Smithfield, Rhode Island. And this projection, including the home court advantage here, I have Bryant by 3/4. That's it. That's how close I think this is going to be. I am a huge fan of Peter Kiss, and I think he's the best player in the conference. He's going to be the conference player of the year. So, I do think that Bryant will win this game, but if they are a 3 or more point favorite, I'm willing to take Wagner against the spread. And I could see Robert Morales goes toe-to-toe with Kiss a little bit, but I just think Kiss is so much better than Bryant. So I have, as your 2022 NEC tournament champions, the Bryant Bulldogs. I have advancing to the NCAA tournament. So here I'm trying to find the odds for the NEC tournament, which FanDuel doesn't have. I'm going to check DraftKings before we go in case there are some sleepers here. So team futures, conference winner. We just have the SEC. So we don't have the conference tournaments up on DraftKings yet. FanDuel, like I said, has a couple, but they don't have NEC. So I have Bryant winning the NEC tournament this year and going on to the NCAA tournament, as Mount St. Mary's was it last year, but I don't have them advancing this year. And then the year before, the COVID year, would have been Robert Morris, and then 2019 was Fairleigh Dickinson. 2018 was LIU Brooklyn with Derek Kellogg, and then 2017, 5 years ago, was Mount St. Mary's. So Mount St. Mary's has been the popular team to make the tournament out of this conference the last few years, but I think that this is Bryant's time to shine, led by Peter Kiss. Alrighty, that was it for the Northeast Conference tournament predictions. Next up will be the Atlantic Sun.